Hey guys, this week in writing we are going to be learning all about sentences, the different types of sentences, and that'll come later in the week. But for today, I wanted to go over with you what is a sentence, okay? So we use these 5 tips when we're talking about sentences. So every time you write a sentence, you want to ask yourself these 5 things in your head to make sure that you've got a good sentence on your paper. Okay, so the first thing is in red. Begin with a capital letter. So this is a sentence that we're going to use for all these different tips. So our sentence, you can read it with me. My mom blanked me to school. So if our first tip is to begin with a capital letter, I need to fix my first letter M and make it a capital. Okay, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to erase it and I'm going to make it into a capital M. Okay, so I'm good with that one. I've got a capital letter at the beginning of my sentence. Tip number 2 is to have the correct ending punctuation. So that's either going to be a period, a question mark, or an exclamation mark. So if we read this sentence, my mom blanked me to school, that's just a telling sentence. So at the end of that sentence, let me get my blue marker so I can have this one, we are going to put a period at the end of that sentence. Okay, so I've got my ending punctuation. Our third tip is to make sure that our sentence has a subject or a noun. So just to remind you, a subject is who or what the subject, that shouldn't say subject, Ms. Henderson made a mistake, who or what the sentence is about. Okay, that's your subject. We also call that a noun, which is a person, place, or thing. So if we look at our sentence here, my mom blanked me to school. Who is this sentence about? This sentence is about, can you guess? My mom, that's right. So I'm going to put a little orange box here around our subject, my mom. Okay, so we have a subject. Number 4 says has a verb. A verb is an action word or something you do. So if I run, that's a verb. If I text, that's a verb. That's something that I'm doing. Okay? So let's see. My mom blanked me to school. Is this telling me what my mom is doing? It's not. So this sentence is not a good sentence yet because it's missing its verb. Okay, so let's think. What would my mom do to me to school? My mom eat me to school? My mom sleep me to school? Okay, we just talked about text. My mom text me to school? No. What would your mom do to you to school? A word that I can think of is drive. My mom drives me to school. So if I put drive, now my sentence has a verb. So I know what my mom is doing. But look here at number 5, your sentence must make sense. So if I read this sentence, my mom drive me to school. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't sound right. It has to have subject and verb. They have to agree. My mom drives me to school. So in order for my sentence to make sense, I have to put an S on the end of it. Okay, so let's read this one more time. Make sure it begins with a capital. Make sure it has the correct ending punctuation. It has a subject and noun. It has a verb. And it makes sense. So this is a good sentence. My mom drives me to school. Okay, so as we go through the week, you're going to be working with a lot of different types of sentences, but always think back to this lesson and use these 5 tips to make sure you have a good sentence.